Israel has launched a new wave of airstrikes across southern Lebanon after 2 of its soldiers were killed and several were injured. 2 strikes targeted the town of Al-Mansouri. They were so powerful that people in the city of Tyre, about 13 kilometers away, felt the blasts. The Israeli army forced residents to leave the area on Wednesday, and it follows a series of attacks overnight. Israel says they were in response to Hezbollah's violation of the ceasefire agreement. 8 people have been wounded. Israeli and Lebanese delegations have been meeting in Rome to discuss the US-backed agreement that Hezbollah is not a part of. Zaina Khodr is in Al-Mansouri in southern Lebanon. She's joining us now. So more strikes for a second day, Zaina.
Yes, they were powerful blasts. In the past hour, 2 airstrikes targeted the town of Mansouri, the town in the distance behind me. We had to pull away after those strikes came in. It wasn't the first time Mansouri was targeted in the past 24 hours. In fact, 24 hours ago, the Israeli army issued forced displacement orders telling the residents of the town to leave. It was the first time they issued such forced displacement orders in recent weeks, since the lull in the fighting, since that ceasefire was announced. It wasn't just Mansouri that was targeted. Overnight, the village of Bourj El-Shemali, which is not far from here, a few kilometers south from where we are, there was an airstrike overnight, totally destroying a house, but it was preceded by 3 drone strikes, which allowed the family, the 6-member family, to leave, but 8 people were wounded nevertheless. Now, targeting Bourj El-Shemali is being seen as an escalation. There was also a drone strike that killed a person in Tibnin, because Bourj El-Shemali, Tibnin, these are villages quite far from Israel's occupation zone. The hill behind me above Mansouri, that is the boundary, if you like, of Israel's occupation zone. They occupy more than 60 towns and villages across southern Lebanon. So striking deeper inside Lebanon was seen as an escalation. Now they're saying that this was in response to the bomb that killed 2 of its soldiers and wounded 4 others in the occupied town of Majd al-Zoun, which is to my left. We still do not know if that bomb was placed before the Israeli army occupied the village or after the Israeli army occupied the village. They're blaming Hezbollah, and Hezbollah has not commented on that accusation. So really the situation is very fragile, it's precarious. Yes, there's been a reduction in violence, but violence does continue. And hundreds of thousands of people have returned to their homes, and now they're wondering whether, if this conflict does escalate, they're going to have to leave again. But the statement by the Israeli army saying that in the past 24 hours they hit Hezbollah military sites in response to the bombing may be an indication that at least this round of strikes could be over.
In the meantime, as we were just mentioning, these talks are going on in Rome. They're backed by the US. They're between Israel and Lebanon. Hezbollah is not part of this. It is an attempt to get some sort of peace deal. Do we have any more on those talks?
Well, it is the 3rd and final day of those discussions in Rome. Lebanese and Israeli diplomats and military officers. Yesterday, they ended earlier than planned because of the developments on the ground. And this is something that the U.S. State Department, mentioned in a statement. But it was clear even before the latest round of talks began that there will not be much progress. The Israeli army, Israeli politicians, they have repeated time and time again, there will be no further withdrawals from southern Lebanon. This deal that they signed in late June involves the gradual pullout of Israeli troops. The Lebanese army enters, and the Lebanese army is supposed to make sure Hezbollah doesn't return. Israel is demanding a verification mechanism to be agreed first, and what we understand, there are technical discussions in Rome, but we haven't heard of any possible agreement on what that verification mechanism is. So few really are expecting an announcement that's going to show progress. And many people here feel in southern Lebanon is that engaging with Israel is just a waste of time. Really, this is what people who lived in Mansouri told us. They told us, we're sitting in the streets, on the side of the roads. We don't know if and when we can go back to our homes, when they're discussing future withdrawals in Rome, while Israel is taking more ground in southern Lebanon.
Zaina Khodr there talking to us from Al-Mansouri in southern Lebanon. Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed.